I have had the privilege to live in a very peaceful society for the past 7 years, but the West wants to destroy that peace. The Western leaders, led by America's foreign policy, will never be happy until we are all subservient, drugged, destitute, or killing each other with hate. And also, we will be paying for that benefit through our tax system. How do I know the West wants to do what they always do best, i.e. start war? Because I hear what the Western governments are saying now, and I've heard it so many times before.
I mean, what we have now is an axis of evil: China, Russia, and Iran. Iran taking care of funding all of these terrorists, being backed up by these two big countries. And you saw that President Xi said that he and the Chinese and the Russians are going to be friends forever. So this is a big crisis that needs to be confronted by the most important democracy in the world.
So welcome back to my channel. It is me, Ian, here in Beijing, in China. China, a place that is incredibly safe, rich in culture, and filled to the brim with people who are smart, welcoming, and very innovative. But it is a place that is being subtly threatened by war because the Western nations have lost their competitive edge, and like any bully, they are reverting to violence in the form of war. And on top of that, typical lust for war, which is on display to you throughout the day and the night, and also on your 24-hour news programs and across your social media channels, is the hidden economic war. All this threat is done in a subtle way, but when you see it, you can never unsee it. The top story in the news bulletin, the third or even the seventh story, or all of them all together are usually anti-China. The business channel will drop in an anti-China bulletin, and then the news anchor will back it up with a nuanced story about how quirky the culture in China is, or how the traditions are being destroyed. It's beautiful here, eh? The hypocrisy from the West and across the Western media is bottomless when you listen carefully, you do your research, and you understand some basic history. Beautiful. The economic war is pressuring China in the same way America and its allies have pressured other countries. Sanctions, threats, bullying, restrictions, and removing access to skills, knowledge and technology that can further advance not just China, but give advantage, in my opinion, to the human race.
When it comes to the influence of China outside its borders, it's quite remarkable that they don't seem to have any military ambitions. Instead of going into Africa with troops, colonially, destroying the country, killing people like the West has done for the last 100 years, what they did was they went to Addis Ababa and they said to the government, we can see you have problems with your infrastructure. We would like to build some new airports, upgrade your railway system, create a telephone system, and rebuild your roads. And we'll do this all for free. No strings attached. We don't want anything from you. And they did.
China's once a robust economy is softening. I can feel it. I read about it, and I hear it from friends here in China. The economy in China is challenged, not because of bad policies by the government, the recovery from COVID, or the decisions made by the population, although there are opportunities in all of that, like any country. No, it's because the Western foreign policy led by Mr. Joe Biden is trying to strangle the economy like it's done to so many other countries. People here are preparing for the worst and adjusting their spending because of it, because they know modern history tells us America will never stop. They have a lust for war. So I think the foreign policy from the West is not only harming China, but I honestly believe that it is harming many Western countries and companies, and in the end it will push up costs and also heighten the risks for you, the person on the street. The end result will be more turmoil, job losses, strike action, rising debt, increasing poverty, homelessness, civil unrest. You get the picture. And who do you think will be the casualties of any conflict? I can tell you, it won't be the politicians. There won't be any casualties of the conflict. They will take profit, but they will not take the risk of a bullet, that's for sure. When will we ever in the West wake up from perpetual war? To be honest, there's been war of some sort where the West has been deeply involved. For every day of my life, for every day that I have spent on this beautiful planet, there has been some kind of war. It's exhausting. So I would never underestimate China, and I certainly would not be the person or the governments that are backing China and the rest of the world into a corner, because I think, like many people, they are getting sick and tired of this overreach from America and from the West. The Western governments, countries, and we all know who they are turning into what they claim China is. They claim China as a protectionist, warmongering power that limits freedom of speech. I would say maybe you want to look in the mirror. Yeah, I think the best thing would be for China and the rest of the world to work together and further the human race. So for me, it was a welcoming change of conversation from a very impressive politician in the form of the Californian Governor Gavin Newsom. You may have seen him, very slick guy. He was in China this week. He said that it's not a zero-sum game between the US and China, and that if China does well economically, then the US will also benefit. This is a refreshing approach, and certainly a much better approach than Biden, who has been in government for so long that he is clearly indebted to other forces, if you ask me.
More tourism, I hope. More two-way trade, I hope. More economic development, more economic growth, more prosperity, more peace, more collaboration, a little less stress, a little less anxiety. I think we're all stacked with stress. I think we need to take the temperature down broadly. So I hope all of the above.
So I sincerely hope that Gavin Newsom gets a bit of a run at that top job, at the president's job. But I fear the powers that be want Biden as president for another term, because he is useful, even though most of America don't actually want him in that position. So, and with that, like a multitude of politicians, and I speak on behalf of the free world, even though, like many politicians, I have not been given such an authority, but I speak on behalf of the free world and demand peace. Peace like that, which I have experienced here in China for 7 years, but also been evident for the last 40 years. Trust me, when you taste such peace and safety in your community, you will want more. You don't believe me? Then tune in to the many other people in China who are sharing the same message on YouTube and other places. China is safe, and it's not what you are told to believe. Trust me. So this is me, Ian, here in a very safe, beautiful, blue sky Beijing, as you can see, asking you to stay safe out there, look after your family, your friends, and also your community. I'll catch you in another video. Peace out.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright.